Hello, everybody. Hello. We got some folks out there talking about conspiracy theories. Folks are getting confused about the mother, it seems. And we have the mother who is in Rainbow Covenant with the Most High God and is here as representative on behalf of, appointed by the Most High God. And we have some folks out there that are masculine and they're upset about the honoring. Well, first of all, the survival and then the honoring of the divine feminine. So, you know, we got a couple of factions of people out there that have been having a real good time, you know, keeping the woman down. And they're real mad that she rose up there and she's talking freely, you know, because God said she could. And, you know, those folks who haven't taken her seriously are real upset about it. Oopsie. So they're saying she's like a conspiracy theorist or something. Hello, hello. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Well, we just don't ever know what's going to happen. Apparently, a lot of stuff is going on, and there's a lot of anger happening by those mostly masculines who have been getting away with harvesting folks at the crossroads and then putting those ascension rewards onto their copycat puppet who hasn't actually earned the rewards. So they're really mad that the true divine feminine have survived their trials and have been promoted or uplifted by the divine. And they can't trap them, keep them, or use their energy and their gifts to fuel their own success story or whatever. Anyway. Apparently, there's a thing called Silence of the Lamb. And, you know, the lamb is the sacrifice that survived, right? They don't want the actual lamb that was resurrected to be speaking out here because they have a whole big story and a whole big freaking prophet system that's built around that story. And folks are having their own experiences and their own unions or relationship with the Most High Divine, and it's pissing these profiteers, these pirates off. Thank you, Bonita. Thank you. Hello, Earth Angel. Hello. Hello, Ashley. All right, so here we are. Let's get us a start to our, let's get our evening on the roll. So I'll pull that over here. Recovery mode. Oh, A.M. Montgomery. Hi. Meow. I'm so glad to be alive. quite grateful that God and Goddess Mother Father have allowed me to remain alive. I am grateful. So grateful. I don't do witchcraft. Why do people come onto these channels just to be a bitch? I mean, I just don't understand it. Is that all they got to do? The joy is that, you know, I'm not focused on what other people are focused on. The problem, I think, is that we got a bunch of chaos makers out there. They orchestrate it, and then they drive people into these chaotic mindsets and ways, you know. But if we don't give our attention to it, then... Oh, I'm so glad that you guys actually speak up occasionally so that I can block you. Thank you. We got a lot of haters out here tonight. I imagine that they probably would be because they're getting the shit kicked out of them, most likely mentally, if not in other ways. I don't do witchcraft. I've never done witchcraft. I don't know how to do witchcraft. I did kind of Google it a few times because I was investigating what the hell was happening to me over the last couple of decades. So I know a little bit of it, what people do with their little hocus pocus, but I don't actually do it. The most I've done is light a prayer candle at the grotto and a couple of times here in my home. Yeah. I've never want, you know, the thing about witchcraft and forcing your will over others and, you know, the freaking cosmic cycle of things. Like I've always thought, you know, most High Mother Father know what I need in my life. And if they need me to be under pressure so that I can learn to stabilize and then grow in that space, then I have to try to find the diamond within the lesson, right? It's smudged. Well, the pharaohs in this world today, I think some of them are like clones of those genetics that they grave robbed. And they're in trouble because some of the trapped or cursed pharaohs were like released. And I think they're out here like getting vengeance on all these jackasses who've been hammering away doing genetic mad scientist experiments on themselves with dead men's DNA. I think they're pretty well pissed that they tried to curse and exterminate while draining all of the wealth out of those families. Yeah, I think they're in big trouble, you know, these fake pharaohs. Well, A.M. Montgomery, you know, this is my 23rd year with conscious warfare in this particular life, and they didn't expect me to survive, but because it's been so long, you know, and it was a 24/7 barrage of thousands of people. I mean, I kind of have connections, these trauma bonds or whatever, with folks out there that are now probably sorry that they did that because God's listening to everything, you know. And that's weird, you know, when you go under this suffering and then you survive, it's like all of those trauma bonds, it's like now God can go into any of those minds and pick up on whatever it is they're doing because whatever they force themselves on you, a daughter or a son of the Most High, a transmitter receiver, a communications device of the divine. You know, a lot of folks, so they say necromancy, right? But there's they twist everything, right? You've got folks running around out there in animated corpses. Those are the living dead. They're walking around harvesting energy through sexual intercourse and other methods, sacrifices and whatnot, in order to fuel their corpse and keep it from decomposing. And then you've got ancestors who are waiting for you to have a damn child so that they can come back into the system, you know? And it's you don't want to just throw away the spirit or the soul of your future child or your passed over grandmother or grandfather, whatever, you know? I mean, there's different frequencies and vibratory levels to everything, not just your internal chakra system or your emotional body or whatever. Time, space. All right, so we got High Priestess on the bottom of the deck. High eyes of look at them. In the central energy, what do we have for the planetary system? So they're talking about, they're upset because there's this magistrate is a female, and you got all these leaders out there in the governing systems and the churches and all of this, and it's all very masculine dominated. But right now, God has a rainbow covenant with the magistrate, who is a dignitary, who is a universal gatekeeper. She's a lawmaker, and she's out there balancing the scales. She is the overseer of some territory, I guess like a president or whatever, matriarch or whatever, and she's changing things up. And there's big time security. These men, these religious men, and these governing, pimps out there that's making profit off of the womb of power are very upset that this magistrate won't let them in the territory because of their history regarding the feminines and the children's and the indigenous people, which the Most High said that the land was going back to the indigenous people. And so he appointed this magistrate as a representative, and she's not letting in the Vatican. She's not letting in rapists. She's not letting in catfishers who have, histories of destroying other people's lives for their own benefit, taking from others, stealing from them their initiation, ascension rewards, and then forcing, unaliving them in another sacrifice and forcing them back into another cycle of stagnancy. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. In the central energy, somebody's having a heartbreak. They're getting a divorced. They're divorced out of this divine mother's energy. They can't come in there and play with her energy, and they can't come in there and play with the family trees that are on that territory. These guys have been prostituting every freaking buddy, whether it be in the flesh, in the spirit, or in the energy itself, while you are left stagnant and single, and they come in and they grab energy out of your sacral while you're sleeping. At least that's what they were doing to me and many, many others, often disguising it as a dream lover or an orgasmic experience in the middle of the night. No, and that's because they're soul leaders. They eat the soul of the divine, suns and stars. And God is like, this woman has survived an impossible path. She's been in the deepest hellhole that even the enemy would not go in. And she came up out of that. God resurrected her, led her back into an ascension, put her in this role as a representative. And all of these men who hate women, these interdimensional time hopper, they've gathered the gifts and the energy of the womb of power, and then they've flaunted it as their own power, but it's not. And so these types of people who've been harvesting that kind of energy off of women and then using it to fuel their magic, especially if it's bad magic and they're using an innocent person's pure energy to do it, and then frame them in the spiritual court as doing a crime. I mean, this is terrible. You can't let that kind of crap in and affect your family and their future, you know, their potential and their connection with God. Because apparently it is said that the people's experience here is to fortify their connection and relationship with the Most High Creator and a mother, father, and to add value to their soul, to learn as much as they can about as much as they can, and then to see what it is they're good at, and then to bring that added value to soul back to the Star Nation soul tribe, the increase, the ascension gifts, you know, this wealth that you're here to gather, to learn, to collect. And we got a bunch of parasites and pirates here that have just been schmoozing everybody with their false stories and their black magic. So they're upset because they're getting cut out. They cannot come into this mother's territory and expect to be fed and given everything while they're planning on destroying or stealing from a family or families in this territory. She's not going to let that happen. They were accusing her of being a tyrant. These sex trafficking pimps who have been red rumming and sacrificing babies and children and other beings, prostituting them throughout the entire world for centuries, are calling her a tyrant because she won't let them in the territory to do it to the people in the community. They're very furious. They're real mad. There are there's a couple of different factions. You got the church, and then you got some governing systems, some of these secret governing systems throughout the world that seem to have their freaking claws on people's heads or whatever, but they don't have them on this woman, and so they want to smash her, you know. But unfortunately for them, the bridge was connected. It was mended, so the communications system is back online, and God knows exactly what they've been doing here. So they're not just coming after this woman again. They've burned her alive many times. They've crucified her. They hung her on the cross, and then they gave that story and all of this horrific trauma to a masculine, while they made her a still perpetually always sorrowful mother who's supposed to make things right for everybody. Well, guess what? No, she's not giving anybody her life force anymore that doesn't deserve it. She survived this last sacrifice, and these nasty POSs are not going to use her serious gifts and energy to fuel their illusions anymore. They're just not going to do it. And they're real mad. Their magic isn't powerful enough to come against her because God's with her. So now all they got to do is they got to try to do a 3D thing. But that ain't going to work either, because the Divine Mother, obviously royalty, stated that you should be prepared that, you know, they won't survive. So obviously they're going to try, but they won't make it. In the challenge position, so there's a 3 of Swords, heartbreak. They're in grief. They can't suck the TIT of this mother that they have been sacrificing in the most horrific, brutal, torturous, painful way, lifetime after lifetime, for centuries. They've been vilifying her, trashing her, calling a prostitute a terrorist, while they've been dressing up their clones or their copycats or catfishers in her energy and her face, and they've been doing horrific things in the world. And they want her forgiveness. They want her to feed them, to give them an allowance and a house and a car. And because she won't, she's a tyrant. No. She just isn't going to feed into these programs of suffering. They nearly exterminated the entire original human race. They have their off-planet or interdimensional leaders or whatever have a specific plan according to the curator of what type of life gets to live here, and they're all about transing people into a different, you know, thing other than their God given life, right? They want to chemically alter people, and that's what they've been doing. They're challenged by your strength, by your courage. You're not backing down. You're not shrinking. You're not going silent. You're not hiding from anybody. God's walking with you. You're living boldly, giving the messages that Spirit Divine wants you to share with the people. And in the subconscious, they've got the Fool in the reverse. They made some bad choices. They took risks. They're not getting a new beginning. They're getting cut out. You're not going to feed them anymore. They've been RAPing, burning you alive, crucifying, literally nailing you to the stake. They've been labeling you as a prostitute. Why? Because they gang RAP, these beautiful women who are out there teaching the community about love before they die, because they think if they can violate the form, the spirit, the soul, before they actually unalive it, that they can't go to heaven. And this has been these masculines practice, and they're furious that this woman knows all about it. It's been centuries. It's happened to her. It's happened to others. It's happened to and God can see it all now. And all of God's family can see it throughout the limitless numbers of universes. Well, Christina, this is my story too. So, if people want to get mad about me picking up on their story, this is as much my story as it is anybody's. I'm here sharing it with people out of the goodness of my heart, because these stories help me maintain my settled and balanced status. And I'm hoping that maybe if it resonates for other people, that it will do the same for you. We're very much more alike than these abusers would have us believe. We've got the Knight of Cups in the reverse. So in the recent past, somebody's very disappointed here. They were trying to what? Come in and get a love offer. It didn't work. They weren't able to make a proposal. They're jealous about something here. They're not able to get, they're getting divorced out of your energy, because they brutalized you, tortured you, laughed at you, gave your energy and your gifts to people who were not qualified to manage them. And then they used your gifts to hurt you and torture you and take everything from you. And not only you, to RAP your mind, but other people that you loved, the children. For centuries, they've been abusing one particular powerful feminine, and they've been recycling her through this stuff, but God came and got her this time. And I know there's one particular, but I know there's many also. So if this fits for you, if it feels, then just take it. And if it doesn't, don't, and just don't get mad about it. Because I don't want to fight, man. I've been fighting with these guys in my head for 23 years. I don't want to fight with you guys. I'm just not interested. So they're very disappointed. Their love offer was not accepted or something. The Star. You're rejuvenated. Their intention, expectation. So you've got this beautiful healing. They know that you've got this beautiful energy. They wanted it. They wanted to come in and, speaking of, they wanted to come in and get connected to you, but you didn't accept the love offer. So speaking of that, they're saying to each other, these adversaries, they're telling each other, before I sat down here, they were saying to each other to take something from her. So if there's anybody in your environment, watch your stuff, because it's like they're wanting to take something of yours so that they can generate some kind of a bonded, corded connection, or curse something of yours. So that was one of the most recent things that they said to each other. They're telling each other, they're instructing each other to take something of yours. Well, Christina, it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the last 17 months has been absolute freaking intense warfare in the astral spaces and so many timelines. There are things being done about it. And the problem is that you don't see what's happening. So don't blame God. Try to keep yourself positive and hopeful. in the near future. We've got the Six of Cups in the reverse. So it could be that somebody's wanting forgiveness for what they've done in the past. You're moving forward. You're leaving home. They have to leave home. You're kicking them out. They got to go be independent. They're so codependent and toxic. They've been getting freebies off of this woman's spiritual bank account. She's over there. They've been treating her like auntie, but they've been all coming in, taking everything from her while crapping all over her and using her own gifts to hurt her. And it's the most atrociously disrespectful thing ever. She's not going to let disrespectful people into if these men hate women, if these men wanted to destroy others, if these women wanted to allow that and help them, they're not coming into the territory. They cannot be trusted with the lives of the children, of the animals, of the family. And people, they're calling her a tyrant because she won't open up the bank account and write them a big fat check and give them a house. It's like, you don't deserve it. You're just here to steal from everybody. Why would the mother give them a house and let them be in the territory knowing that their intention is to go tap as many wombs of power as possible and to destroy people's marriages and home life? These men hate her. She won't let them in to F up the family again. She knows thousands of years of history and abuse patterns. So they got to leave home. They got to get out. They got to leave, and they cannot come back. And they're very mad. They're insisting. They insist to each other that she won't last a year. That they're going to get a Judas in there and that they're going to do a bad, most very painful thing ever to her. Their promise is that, the worst torture you could think of, they're going to times 10 it. I mean, that's where they're at with this woman. They're so freaking mad that God has given her a rainbow covenant. They need to capture her and then south node her, violate her, degrade her, defile her. And then transfer her soul value and identity and memories and all of that to a copycat or themselves. And then dress up in this beautiful energy. Or they've also talked about gently unaliving her and then shocking her back into existence while severing her from her spiritual family and then attaching themselves to her in that way. So it's just nasty, They're getting cut off. She's not being forced. God said, never give it back. You will never give it back. And he told her that she had been too forgiving. So these men are furious with this woman, but God is the one saying to her, absolutely not. He's like, you cannot give it to them. They cannot take it from you. You cannot sell it to them. You cannot give it to anybody in an inheritance. So, because they've got ways of finagling legal documents to pretend that somebody actually left them something. No, when you're done with God's gift, that gift is going back to God, and then God will determine who gets it next. These people have been very, very foul and effing up with the wealth of the royal family. So you're being here in these cycles of thousands of years, accruing evidences through your experiences. It's really helpful to this ship. So the lens that's being looked through is the Queen of Cups. So the love of the divine feminine. She's the nurturer. She needs her energy in order to nurture and bring life to things. But you've got these nasty cornholio freaking sex magicians out there draining the sacral of the divine feminine. So, and they've been having a freaking party. So the planet and the life here is suffering because they've been pulling all of the freaking energy out of the womb of power. And the whole planet is suffering because of these greedy little lustful freaking snakes. And their little friends, their little I don't know, girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever, that wanted to share in the wealth of this. Empress. The love of the freaking Empress. So, in the environment, battle. 5 of Wands. Competition. See, these men, these men, their favorite weapon of war, which is what it is relationship. They're not getting it anymore. They're getting cut out because we have investigated cycle after cycle. They have chose cycle after cycle, lifetime after lifetime to be whatever it is they chose. So they don't get this. You're the star. They're in competition with your light, your beautiful mother energy, your beautiful big cup of love. They wanted to be seen as powerful as this divine mother. They wanted to download her soul value into another. And that's what they've been doing at the crossroads, lifetime after lifetime. They have stripped this Empress of her honor and her initiation, ascension gifts, and authority at the crossroads, lifetime after lifetime. And just a few days ago, they were doing it again. And there was like a couple of hours where there was a back and forth of this fella, like, why are you letting her go by? She's learned all of her karmic lessons. She has graduated throughout all this thing, and blah, 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 blah. So many reasons. And not only that, she has earned this lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, big, powerful rewards. And these guys keep torturing her at the crossroads, unaliving her, and then making her get another birth cycle with a horrendous family of abusers and stagnancy and lack. These men. Running huge churches or pedophile rings disguised as churches. And they're furious at this mother because she is connected to the Most High God, and she's an oracle, a prophetess. She can see clearly, a psychic. She can see clearly what this is. And that's why they've tried to destroy her mind lifetime after lifetime. That's why they've tried to destroy her soul and the connection to God and the mother because of this. She can see what's going on, and she's the transmitter receiver of the Most High God as the Rainbow Covenant holder. They tried to dress themselves up in this energy and portray themselves as that, but they're not. She's obviously shining brightly. God can see who she is, and these other ones are seen as trying to fight with the Queen of Cups and the Empress, or the Queen of Cups of the Empress, the Star, who is very, very strong. All on her own. All of these nasty men are going after the freaking planetary mother, man. What's up with that? Hopes and fears. Well, we've got the power of 3. They're still out there doing magic, trying to fight with this planetary mother. They want her stuff. See, God has given her the bank account, and the land is going back to the indigenous. And it's not because she's saying this is what's going to happen. God told her this is what's going to happen, and she's the representative because she's a loving, beautiful star, Empress, somebody who actually cares about family. And you got all these nasty hoe bag gigolo thieves out there, these universal freaking galactic pirates. So the outgoing energy is the 2 of Pentacles. So you're balancing, you got lots of stuff going on, and you're balancing it. Well, I don't know, Jean, you know. I just don't know. I guess we will find out. There's a lot of stuff happening right now. But we still have the power of three, or the shady power of three, because they're in the shadows, right? They're there in the dungeon doing their thing, trying to stir up some kind of a fight for this Empress here. So we've got there's new love coming in for the Earth Angels here. But you also have the frauds that betrayed you rushing forward, trying to defend their beliefs. So there's going to be a physical fight. You know, you've been working real hard with your light as the son of a sun-filled being, a daughter or a son of the Most High God, Mother, Father. So you've been working real hard to bring a close to this burden, this burdensome load that has been plaguing humanity for thousands of years. It's time to, very quickly, it'll be time to rest, renew, and relax, and perhaps come into a marriage. And these ones are in a tower, and they're being restricted. They're losing the clairs that they never earned. They were harvesting initiates' ascension rewards at the crossroads, this church, with pedophile ring, these roses that they had under their command, their puppet, their espionage agents, who their favorite weapon of war is relationship. And they go in and infiltrate all governments and all systems everywhere. And then they start harvesting souls and messing with whatever. And it's real fun for these strategists who love war, right? They don't want to heal anything. They don't want to mend, grow, expand in a good way, to nurture things. They want to dominate and to destroy if necessary, and then bring in the stars and the mothers to do the healing, and before they give their kids over and their husbands over to go die for them again, whatever. They're being restricted. They're being bound. They're in a tower. We've got King of Cups here. Could be in control of the foundation. The loving divine masculine could be in control of this foundation. And somebody is in a terrible, painful ending. This magician, because of the hard work that they did. Man, they were doing a lot of hard work to bring you a painful ending, and they are getting a painful ending because they wanted that for love. They wanted that for these twin flames. They didn't want the divine feminine to actually connect with a true divine masculine. They wanted to continue harvesting them. But somebody is trying to figure out a new way of communicating here regarding this life of luxury and this wish come true. 9 of Pentacles, 9 of Cups. You've got your maintaining control. Queen of Swords knows the damn truth about what's going on. She's got the barriers up. So you've got the Empress here. She's loving in the territory, but anybody who tries to cross those boundaries and come in and harvest the souls of her family are going to get the damn sword. They're going to lose their damn head. Off with their damn head. You want to come in here and try to RAP these children and F up these family trees, you're going to lose your damn head. That's a judgment. You're going to right the F off. You're not going to be messing in this house anymore. And they're in regret because they failed. They're in regret. You're leaving the baggage behind. And this is they got to leave home, or maybe you're about ready to leave home and then get there. So you could be eventually, what does it say in the Bible? 2 people will be spinning whatever, and then one will be taken and one will be left. So I don't know, like somebody's leaving home. There's a separation, an actual physical separation, it seems, is happening. It could just be like a timeline shift or a dimensional shift, because I woke up this morning to almost complete silence. And these ones are really upset because it appears as though there's literal like timeline destruction. Like there's some bad stuff happening for these people who have been RAPing children and women and men, and then gender switching them and doing all this crazy shit to F up their head and their connection with their creator, Most High God. Yeah, so you know what we did? It could be that their opportunity for finances is in the toilet. They're getting a 5 of Pentacles. They're getting a 5 of Pentacles. They're not taking shit from this divine mother, this representative, this universal gatekeeper, planetary gatekeeper. She's the mother. So they made up these religious stories. They said, oh, she was Jesus's mother. Well, first of all, no. She was the horse of Jesus that fueled, that empowered this person. She was he wasn't born of the womb. She was his wife or partner. And when everything got ironed out, it's like he betrayed her. And she was the one that was crucified, as far as I can tell, and as far as what Spirit is telling me, and the history confirms. She was the one that has been held here century after century after century, getting unalived. Well, this time God said, are you kidding me again? And so, you know what happened? It's like a year or more before that, I think this woman was purified, like God was walking her through purification rituals and whatnot. And so when these Jack Holio, Corn Holio came up to unalive her, Osiris let her go because she was pure. Everything was pure. All of the magic, all of the nasty things that they tried to layer her in, it all came off because God decided they weren't going to do this to her anymore. The mother is going to be elevated into her rightful place. She's going to be given back her dignity. She's going to be able to choose who it is that is given permission to access her energy. She's not going to be forced by this person anymore. Mr. Passion. Mr. Passion is in a 5 of Pentacles because it was all a game. Effing people for pay, you know. So the King of Swords is in charge of the charity. He knows who's deserving and who isn't. And they got all this stuff going on and they're afraid here. Or it could be that whatever you got going on here, your freedom and wherever it is you're going here, you're exploring limitless potential. Somebody could be afraid of your limitless potential. When these twin flames come together, there is limitless potential. See, they're worried about what's going to happen in the universe, but they don't have to worry about that. There's limitless numbers of universe, and God has already determined where everybody's going to go, what they're in alignment for. So they're afraid what's going to happen here because this mother is the universal gatekeeper and they can't come in. Not only can they not come into this planet and up around here, they can't go any other planet in the universe here. They got to go to some other universe or whatever. Or maybe they got to go to the universe to whatever lowercase forces or gods or whatever that they got working with. Because they're not in alignment with the God that's here standing for the Divine Mother right now. And all of her forms. King of Wands. It could be King of Wands and his team of people. So we've got some folks out there that are called a butcher. We got some folks out there that are called the silencer. They're calling these fellas sociopathic. Why? Because they thought they were mean and cruel, but they were only hitting the women and the children while they were just gender manipulating the men. But these guys came in and they're like, hey, you think you're a boogeyman? Okay, let me show you what a boogeyman is, all right? And they're turning the wheel on this. You made an investment here, so you're turning the wheel and you're, look, this. This high priestess's faith was tested. So she had gone through cycle after cycle. This high priestess, freaking Empress, man, she's in her Queen of Swords energy. She's in her Queen of Cups energy. She's Empress High freaking Priestess. And they had captured her as a prisoner of war. This person is said to be a direct descendant of one of the upper dimensional gods or something. She's like a demi-goddess, I think. And these guys trapped her. And they've been using all of her gifts and stuff to hurt her, to hurt all the children that she was here to nurture. And they used it with her energy. And then they cursed her crown, wrapped it up, so she wasn't getting her God communication, her goddess communications. So they were intercepting those while they were flooding her mind with this satellite, AI kind of soap opera, Microsoft streaming Wi-Fi kind of crap. And they thought that they were going to make God see her as insane and unworthy of her own gifts. But she was able to wiggle up through that nastiness and then reach the true divine messaging system. And it wasn't all on her own. Some of those people, they had unwrapped the crown and then assisted in breaking the curse. Well, the problem, is that some people try to take shortcuts. So this high priestess here, she's weary, and that's the thing that God was telling these people, or upper dimensional, upper echelon, or the supreme universal courts or something, were saying this woman's soul is weary. You will not be destroying this soul. She's got public recognition. She's identifiable. She survived. She is a survivor. But she was their secret weapon. They were using this original organic woman, and a descendant of an upper dimensional God or being, who is here to help people. But whoever was supposed to protect her betrayed her and then unalived her and started going through this thing where they, like that one card where they have you, they got you hidden, where you're hidden and they're sucking the pay off of you while pretending that they're rich. There's that one card where they trap you and then they start siphoning all of your pay, all of your reward for your effort. Taxes is what it's called. Taxes. So taxes don't fuel the government. Taxes fuel whoever it is that sacrificed you. Whatever tribe, whatever family owns you. Pretty much is the way that goes. And where you can tell where the big bucks are going every year, that's where the sacrifices are coming from. The souls. And this was supposed to be a last stop, apparently. Apparently here in this space, you were supposed to become like a big pervert, like Babylonian or whatever. And you were supposed to go to hell while they harvested your ascension reward because of all the crap you went through. They wanted to layer you in all of their nastiness and then send you there while they got the reward that you were supposed to get by casting the illusion that you were unworthy. Isn't it fun? Mind games. And that you say you will always be Jewish. The thing about this is that some of us were stripped of everything. Our lineage, our history, our own parents, our memory of who we were, what our purpose is. Everything that we spiritually came here to do was taken from us. We had no history. They took it from us because they didn't want us to recognize our own existence or importance or value, and they didn't want anybody to recognize us. So what I was saying is that, you could be whatever you want. I used to call myself an American, but apparently now this is Egypt. So I guess I don't know, whatever. I'm a daughter of the divine. I'm from an upper dimensional space and place, and I have a great light, and I'm here to share my love. And I had a whole bunch of people trying to turn me into a malicious villain because they were spinning the story, like many of you, that I was like a bad terrorist out there committing, cruel things on people, which I never, ever, man, I don't do any of that kind of stuff. So they're in a Three of Swords. They're getting cut out of the charity. They're not getting any more charity. They're not getting any more charity. They're not going to be pulling on the resources of this planetary mother. And there are many of you, because I'm like, we all, you know how they say, like, we all kind of share a soul, right? And we're bound by this womb of power, you know? It's kind of like, we're like these divine beings. Anyway, so you got the social mass. So they're getting divorced, cut off, because it was their mask fell off and they don't have any gifts. These gifts that they were pretending that they had, they weren't theirs. They were harvested at the crossroads. They never earned them. These are devils. So these guys, they harvest the star at the crossroads, the Empress star, whatever. They harvest you, and if you're an Empress and you're elevated up into High Priestess mode, they harvest that ascension, that initiation ascension reward, and they give it to a copycat wearing a mask, and they have no ability to stay stable within that magnificent power. They cannot possibly manage it well, and so everything gets messed up with their cruelty and their selfishness and their privilege that they haven't earned. So the mask fell off. They aren't who they say they are. They don't have any gifts. They're getting kicked out. They didn't show the real them. They were afraid to. They were afraid to show who they are. The gift in the reverse. Instead of seeing you as the gift you are, they doubted your value, and it created a rift. They wish that they had seen your worth sooner. They were pretending. Their mask fell off. You see them for who they are. They didn't see your value. These nasty people that have been running around calling divine feminines dime a dozen. Why? Because they get these child beauty pageants out there, and then these little virginal girls go out there and get deflowered by these nasty pieces of shit, and they cord right away to that womb of power. And it's done in a very vile way. You know, it's not loving. Apparently, it's RAPE, and they manipulate their minds, and they F up their minds so bad that they can't tell whether abuse is love or what, and they mess them up so bad. And then they violate their energy from that point until they're gone. Piss me off. Pissed this mother off. And she was out there, so she had her territory in the past. And they unalived her. They called her a tyrant. They said that she was a money hoarder, like a thief or whatever. I don't know, whatever. Like she wanted all the money. She wanted to dominate everybody. And just the other day, I heard a young person ask a female. He said, "You don't want to rule the whole world?" It's like, no, man, she didn't want to ever rule the whole world. She just wanted to take her God's gift, what God gave her, and support these beautiful, loving family. And she wanted to keep these nasty men away from them because they were vile. They wanted to prostitute everybody. They wanted to attach themselves to this womb of power and draw off of it without actually generating a family, without actually offering stability and security for the children of this encounter. And they just really threw everything. They turned the whole territory, this Garden of Eden, this beautiful paradise, into a brothel, into a slaughterhouse, while stealing everything that belonged to the divine feminine, calling her a dime a dozen because they can beat her up, they can throw her down, they can overpower her, they can RAP her to death, they can do whatever they want. And everybody cheers. And everybody freaking cheers, and they still demand that she give them life. God. So they're challenged by your strength, by your courage. I mean, you know, I mean, if you've been mentally tortured for a whole lifetime, I mean, there comes a time when you're like, okay, damn, I mean, what now? So you just kind of boom out, right? You're like, whoa, you know, I mean, if you try to be quiet and you try to obey all the rules, and they come up and they tell you did it wrong and then they punish you. And then so you're like, okay, well then I'm just going to do what I want to do. I'm going to please me. And then they come up and they punish you, you know? And so it doesn't matter what you do, whether you try to conform or you try to just be your soul value, they're going to get you no matter what, because they're all about dominion and dominating, when this person is all about restoration, nurturing, healing. True leadership is about restoration and nurturing. It isn't about dominion. But these masculines were projecting that nastiness onto the planetary mother and accusing her of being what they are. Commitment. You have a strong commitment. So you may be Empress, Queen of Cups, Queen of Swords, Star, may be in a commitment with someone. So it may not be in the 3D, although it could be. It could just be that you're very, very strong to, you have a very, very strong commitment toward unions, sacred unions, not just this fleeing, you know, out there doing reckless sex so that you can energetically cord to somebody and then harvest some freaking, you know, thing out there, whatever. These guys aren't getting a new beginning with you. They acted very recklessly. They made bad choices. They abused you, took advantage of you. They're being warned. They're receiving a warning. They might try to come and do a thing to you. They skipped the necessary steps to gain an advantage. They didn't do the work. They expected you to do all of the work, to carry the entire load for this entire tribe or clan or whatever the hell it is. And then in the end, they were going to throw you into the fire and pretend that they were the thing all along, you know? They're getting a warning shot. Knight of Cups in the reverse is disappointed. It could be that they don't know, their love offer was not accepted. Because, okay, so look, they were exploiting people and they're starting to malfunction. It could be that, so yeah. So that's what he was doing in the past to the stars. He wanted your light. He's beginning to malfunction. It could be that there's some others that have power over them now. You're in your star energy. They wanted it. They thought they were going to get it. Their love offer wasn't accepted. They're malfunctioning. Small offering. Yeah. So they want to come in and make a small offering. They want to trade next to nothing for all that you are. That's what they want to do. But they're malfunctioning. So that's what their intention or their expectation is. They want to gain a corded connection to you and your energy. And again, I'll mention they were talking about, just before I sat down, taking something of hers. So if you got to really watch people that are in your house or anywhere, they're talking about taking something of yours to create this kind of weird connection, this weird magical illusion of a connection that you don't have. So we've got this history in the reverse. You're moving forward. You're leaving home. They have to leave home. You're not repeating the past. They're malfunctioning because they were exploiting the families of light with this small offer bullshit. Cross distances. You could be leaving home. You might be going somewhere. The miles may seem vast, but the connection transcends space, and trust that what's meant for you will find its way. Certain events are impossible to avoid, and they drastically shape your future. Embrace the uncertainty, knowing that serendipity works in your favor. So, you know what we got going on here is we're going to have a timeline. It's not even a timeline split. So, I think a year or so ago, maybe, I had, in the astral space, I had like jumped or was pushed or something into a wormhole. And I was sucked into this thing, man. And it was like, and when I was shot out of this wormhole, I was like, I had to take a breath because I damn near died. But when I came out of that damn wormhole, I was in like China on top of one of those spires. I'm just looking around and there's spires everywhere. And I'm way the hell up in the air on top of one of these spires. So, we got some stuff going on. Many of you may have been tested to see if you could survive moving through a wormhole to get to where it is you're going. Across distances. And it may not just be here on the planet. You may be going to some place, 3 galaxies away or something, or to a whole new universe. You're leaving home. You're not repeating. You're leaving the past behind. You're leaving home and you're traveling across some distances. This shady person is malfunctioning. Queen of Cups is here, calm and nurturing. She's this Empress energy, this loving Empress energy. And we got some folks comparing themselves to her. They're jealous. They didn't want to receive. They didn't want to do what she said. They didn't want to become like her. She's a High Priestess Empress. She's all 4 queens. She's very strong, dedicated and loyal to families, to children. And you got these nasty freaking jacks who worship war, who worship the dead, who worship, destroying stuff. And it's like the mothers out here trying to create life, to birth life, to nurture life, but they're destroying it faster than she can freaking create it. Comparing their damn wallets. She's creating and they're harvesting it right away. So she's creating this beauty and then they come in and go like, and they take it and turn it into dollars. And so everything's suffering because these nasty assholes calling themselves responsible men, they keep killing everything. Everything. They harvest the life out of everything with their stupid war, their genocidal programs. And then they rebuild and call it advancement when all it is a mutation and a cover-up of brutality and then a freaking continuation of this stupidity. So they're in the in the environment here. They're wanting to fight. They want to fight. We got a warning shot going off. Whoa, come here now. Distant twin flame. Loneliness. They're in competition with a distant twin flame that's fueling your spiritual journey. So they're fighting with their twin flame. This a-hole could be in another timeline or another dimension, and they could have trapped you here in this timeline or this realm or whatever, and they've just been magically pulling off of their little supply for a long freaking time. Power of 3 in the basement, doing some stuff, building something. Getting some unexpected, there's an unexpected event They took a gamble. They took a gamble. We've got promotion. So they took a gamble. They got some bad news. Unexpected event. You got random thoughts. Signs of progress. Guide your upward journey. Your twin flame is connected to you. And these people are malfunctioning. So, yeah. Your channel is being promoted. It could be that you and your person are powerfully telepathically connected. Anything you hear, they hear. Probably better. God is with you. God hears everything you're saying. These people are messed up in the head. So there's a 2 of Pentacles here. You're managing yourself well. You've pushed your love up that mountain. You did it all by yourself. You have high honor, multiple honors. Sacagawea apparently has given you an honor for releasing or breaking the curse off of her bloodline. She could be part of your bloodline. The indigenous people are being released from whatever curses or whatever these nasty freaking mad scientists whack jobs did to the original people. Those curses and hexes or whatever, their bindings, they've all been released. God says the land's going back to the indigenous people, the original people, and that is what's happening. And right now we've got a lot of big men out there playing big men war games, and they are attacking the original people because God's giving them back the property. And they're very upset that there's a woman out there, an elder, who is given some kind of authority because she's loving, and this is her thing. And God said she will never give it back. Never give it back. She will never give it back. They can't take anything from her ever again. They will never take anything from her ever again, he said. They will never take her honor from her again. She has been pushing the love up this freaking hill for this whole entire tribe while they were trying to stick her in. Look at that. She was loving them. She was behaving in an honorable way. She was filling their pockets, giving them homes, making their lives beautiful with all of this spiritual wealth that God had given her in the beginning. They kept sucking it off of her. And now God's separating them from her. He's like, absolutely not. You will never take this woman's honor again. She's got more love in her. The entirety of this tribe was shitting on her, blaming on, covering her in the blame and the shame of their perversion and their bad murderous habits. Yeah, she was still trying to get those little bastards up that damn hill. She's got this honor, and they've been taking it from her cycle after cycle. And now it's time for whoever this stupid family is to go down. They will never take it from her again. They think they're going to go and do some kind of a malicious 3D thing, but that's not going to happen. Infidelity is what you received in this past cycle. She had an attitude. I had to unalive her. She had an attitude. I didn't have a choice. I needed the gifts. I had to unalive her and then tell a big damn lie that she just boogied off, that she had an attitude, that she did this and she did that. And she didn't do a damn thing except love family while somebody else was trying to be a damn whore. So they framed her for being a whore so that they could go ahead and be one. And they were using her energy to project the guilt and the shame of it onto her. But God knows that this pedophile, this whatever, bad freaking thing, man, you're getting a new beginning. You're getting a new beginning because, and these third-party enemies that have been screwing around with your most sacred, sacral womb of power, your life-giving portal for spirits from Star Nation families throughout the universe. These little assholes are going to prison for a long freaking time because they've not only been messing with you and your energy, they've been messing with the Star Nation soul tribes of all of the zodiacs. They've been stealing their wealth too, using you as a connector and a bridge into that timeline or that dimensional space. These guys are universal pirates of everybody. And they were framing you because they were ripping them off wearing your face and your energy. They were being a whore wearing your face and your energy. The walls are closing in on Casanova. The twin flames, somebody's peeping on the twin flames. They're watching. They want to know what's coming up. They're like, oh my goodness. But those who are chasing petty gains and turning love into dollars while betraying this most sacred union, there's no exit for them. They're not going anywhere. They're going to have to live here with the damage that they have done while you're going to go, I don't know, some other universe, or I guess, because you're a universal gatekeeper. Your twin flame is here. You got space suits on, which tells me you're going to some other part of the freaking multiverse. Your twin flame. You're getting an unexpected surprise. You might actually get some kind of money or a huge gift. God is going to reward you for everything that they took from you. It's like everything that they did to you, every nasty thing they did to you. High Priestess, Empress, all four queens, star. You've got the power, the subtle power to be loving, at the same time to alchemize all of these sorcerers and their big gang of, you know, concentrators. So we're not going to have any more manipulation or treating people like a damn puppet. We're not going to deal with those people who did such things. They're not permitted into the territory. They're calling this Empress High Priestess a tyrant. And if they want to call anybody a tyrant, they can call God a tyrant. They can call her upper dimensional father a tyrant. He's already been down here to tell these people that she is his descendant and they better back off. They were not dealing with no freaking cornholio coming here pretending to love anybody and then effing their most sacred essence up for profit. You have escaped the contract. And they cannot, it's impossible to reverse what they have done to these family ties. They threw your love in the garbage. You cried out for help, and you were able to break through and mend the bridge and be heard by God, Mother, Father, and they were here. And now every freaking buddy who loves life and the earth school is here. And these guys who just were so interested in sucking the wealth out of independent creatress women, high priestess, empress women who can get it done, man. These guys, they didn't want to build with her. They forced her to do it all on their own while they siphoned the initiation, ascension, wealth, and gifts at the crossroads. This was their profit system. And then at the crossroads, they did a very bad thing to you to put you back in South Node so that you could go back through another life of suffering and stagnancy. But you have now focused on long-term discipline rather than short-term goals. You stopped drinking. So those who were mimicking you are seen to be a false flame who's just spreading rumors, talking shit. They're just vomiting crap out their mouth because that's what they're full of. They need you to save them, but you cut them off from your destiny. So it could very well be that wherever you go in the multiverse at this split, there won't be any AI stuff. It's just going to be you and your person. Now, these people, they think that once this transfer happens, that there's going to be some kind of a temple failure, because apparently you need some kind of a medication. Well, I don't know what kind of medication that would be. For myself, I take a thyroid medicine, but there are so many natural ways that you can deal with that diet and herbal medicinal things, you know. So for me, I don't think that that's going to be an issue, because as long as there's, you know, mother's plants, I'll be fine. I'll just figure out whatever it is that can rev up my metabolism naturally. You know, they've had a system here to where you're forced to pay for medical care and insurance, but then you can't use that insurance at a naturopath's facility. You have to pay out of pocket. So it's just a ridiculous way, the way that they kind of pigeonhole you into this sick care, and they've been using it as a soul trap for a long time. So you may want to, if you take any kind of synthetic medicines, you may want to research as to what kind of foods or herbs can assist you in strengthening or improving the function of your organ or whatever it is you got going on. So Teddy Bear Man is on overload. He's like, oh hell, everybody's got questions. Everybody wants to know what's happening, what's going on, because those who were chasing quick gains, just wanting to seem like they were successful, they were chasing quick gains, and now their life is in the freaking shredder. Everything's in the shredder. They might be shredding evidence, but I think their life is going in the shredder. They might be being recycled by God, because they were tested and they were complete failures when it came to honoring, respecting, protecting the mother and the child. They were feeding on the souls of God's family for money. So now we've got guidance from above. You have guidance from above, and from guidance from above. So when they came here, so 17 months ago, I heard God say to these ones, you're never going to find what you're looking for, because they were looking for a sacrifice, a Sagittarius, a young woman. And they named them, the group of people. And I will not mention that here, because I don't want to get in an argument with anybody. God will tell you if God wants you to know. So anyway, guidance from above. They missed the deadline. They were not able to find the sacrifice that they were looking for. God told them they were not going to ever find it. They were not going to get this power source, this energy source, these gifts, and they did not. They did not get any gifts from any beautiful sacrifice. And their mask is off. Everybody can see them for what they are. They're no longer dressed up in the beautiful gifts of a high priestess empress. They can't get the shit done anymore, because they never had the gift. It was always yours. And they were using you for sudden wealth. They were using the trump cards as sudden wealth. So the trump cards, from my understanding, is the boy sacrifices. The roses are the girls. They were using the trump cards as get rich quick schemes. If they could get you on board, if they could confuse your sexuality, if they could dominate your mind, if they could get you to do whatever it is they told, promise you anything, you know, whatever it is, just don't become a competitor. Be a obeyer, right? They were using you to do the work that would make them rich, and they were consuming your damn energy and whatever profits you were coming up with. It could be that they were blaming you and your energetic signature for these nasty things that they were doing or asking you to do, and that they were expecting you to take the punishment for it while they got the money for it. See, God, they're not worthy of that ascension initiation. Look what they did. You know, the devil. Hey, bro, just go do this. Go do this for me, okay? And okay. Reaching out first. Somebody might try to make a connection with you, because danger is approaching, and they are drinking themselves. They're fighting in their head, and they got bad news. They might have gotten into an accident. Maybe something's distracting them. All this money, this consumer, this worship, this money worship. And in the Bible, it talks about that you cannot worship money and God at the same time. They made an unfair assessment of you. They made they were focused on your shortcomings rather than the potential of a happy ending that they could have had with you. They didn't think they could have it with you. And now you get it and they don't. You're going to get this celebration. Why? Because you were able to yield to the assault, to the terrorism, to the trauma. And then you were able to bounce back and come back and then regather your wits and your energy about you and mend the bridge. You're getting a celebration here. And these ones are getting an ultimatum. These people who were doing the digital copycat catfishing bullshit, trying to get you framed for some kind of nasty crap. Yeah, they're getting an ultimatum, trying to trap you in this. Or maybe they have trapped you like this in many other life cycles, and now they're getting an ultimatum, like they're going to be destroyed. They will not step on this family again. It could be, and once again, we've got the rose, man. She's got these roses. These roses will either cover and protect people according to God, because God has accepted her and her purity, this bride. So her roses can either cover people and protect people, or they're dropping like freaking bombs. They'll destroy people. Anybody that has been destroying the roses or the trump cards, she's like, she knows. Some people are getting bombs and some people are getting protected. And these people want to come in and look, they're suffering. She was God's secret weapon, man. And they're all getting condemned for what they did to her. This high priestess empress, all four queens star, man, she's like a direct descendant. She's a soprano. These people, they're like, hey, we're level 33 Mason, whatever. No, there was some folks out here who got themselves into South Node for level 40 freaking 7. And God's heard their prayers, and he says, you know what, I'm gonna send my mama down there. I'm gonna send this woman, I'm gonna send the mother. I'm gonna send the Empress High Priestess Star. And she's gonna help you get out of that level 47 shit, because she is a level 47. And what did they do? They flipped her, they tortured her into South Node, and then switched places. And wore her face and then acted like a whore in the upper dimensional realms, because they were using her consciousness as a bridge and a connector into that space. So they were destroying her reputation with the Most High God, who sent his relative down here to help them. And it's been thousands of years. And in this time, they were at level 47, so they swapped, and so she was deeper than her adversary even said. He says, man, she went deeper than I thought. Yeah, she went deeper. So she could have even went deeper than level 47. She could have went way freaking deep. But when she went down there, I had the vision. She sat there until all the critters of the dark started coming in, and then all of a sudden there was like these huge bands of golden light kind of pulsed out. And whoever these ones had, whatever their false light woman was or whatever, she couldn't get that low. So she could not claim the identity of this energy. She's identifiable. So they're getting divorced out of your energy. Their mask fell off. They don't have any gifts. They've lost connection to you because of your strength and your courage and your commitment to your twin flame here. They're across the distances. They're somewhere else. He's got on a spacesuit and he's coming to get you. He's like, right now, they're fighting with him. They're fighting with your twin flame right now. He's going to kick their ass. And I'm sure that she's going to help him too. She's like, power up, boom, ba-doom, boom, boom, my, boom, shaka-laka-laka-laka. She's dropping freaking roses, bouquets like bombs on these people. It's like, oh, I guess the sacrifice is now their destruction. Their sacrifice, these roses that they have been sucking the life force out of, is now destroying them. Because they survived. God is claiming them, and he's gathered up all the information. So now, this one that they have been sucking the life out of, living high on the hog, having a great time, thinking themselves gods and greater than anything, they fell down. And I have people in my mind when I'm reading this as a planetary message, but I'm not saying, look, they're not optimistic. They're out of hope. They don't have any hope. 3 of Swords, divorce, emotional pain. Their mask is off. They have no gifts. They did not see your worth. They assumed you were a dime a dozen. They treated you like a whore. And they left you alone to deal with the abuse of all the men they sent your way, whether physically or unseen, to violate your energy and your soul. You're strong and you're committed. You were always committed, and they slandered you and lied and said you boogied out, or you were a bad mom, or you hurt kids, or you did whatever. No, those were the people wearing your face and your harvested energy. This has been thousands of years. It's irrefutable evidence. They cannot get out of it. It's clear. It's very clear. You're a peace. You're a person of peace. You're very strong, very stable. These people tried to drive you into being the evil queen. They wanted you to be seen as what is that, maleficent or whatever, maleficent. They wanted you to go into war mode. They wanted to project their warring onto you, and then they wanted you to respond with it in such a way that you would mirror back the warring that they were forcing on you. But you didn't. You stayed peaceful. You were committed to peace. While they were forcing all of this death and all of this hate into you, all of this jealousy, all of this envy, you're just like, oh man, and you know, you probably spent a lot of time alone because you got all this, whether it's in the physical, it certainly is in the energy. And if you're an empath, which you most certainly are as a high priestess, empress, you know, with all these 4 queens and the star energy, they're not getting a new beginning with you. They're being warned. They skipped the necessary steps to gain an advantage. They'd been harvesting your initiation, ascension, lifetime after forcing suffering onto you. And they got off on it. These gigolos, these teddy bear boys. You didn't do anything. You didn't do anything. They're being warned. They didn't do anything. They skipped the necessary steps to gain an advantage. They didn't do anything. They siphoned your life force. They took your honor and then dressed up in it lifetime after lifetime. They didn't do a damn thing. They haven't earned shit. You did. Over and over and over again. You earned it time after time after time. And at the crossroads, these nasty illusion casters were taking it. And they didn't even qualify for this gatekeeper position. They've been taking these gatekeeper positions away from the mother, who was she didn't want to let these pirates of the universe into the territory, but somehow they did some weird magical mental kind of weird shit, and she was convicted of tyranny and some kind of thing with the money. Like they wanted the money, and she's like, you can't have the money. You're not here to build family, you know, to benefit family. They were pirates, universal pirates, who were here. They were comparing. They saw that there was all this wealth here, and they wanted it. And she was like, you can't have it. This belongs to the family. And they're like, okay, bitch, we'll teach you. So when they killed her, they said, practice what you preach, right? So it's and I will never forget that. She did. She practiced what she preached. She went into the deepest, darkest pit of hell, and she got her shine on. And she healed herself. And she remained loving and heart open. She honored her sacred feminine energy. She wasn't a whore. She wasn't a thief. She worked for everything that she has without the assistance of a man or a protector. And she had been cut off from her divine source connections. Unknowingly to these ones, though, the soul knows, and there is silent telepathy. They're malfunctioning. They're having an overactive imagination. They're malfunctioning from this exploitation. They could, suffering from exploitive labor practices. Others having power over you due to what they know. So, Knight of Cups in the reverse is having, his mind is like racing. He's malfunctioning. The car here could be the temple, the flesh suit, and then he's got the mind here. So he could be having some emotional issues. His temple may not be doing well. He could be getting exploited, like the demons or whatever, these ghosts that he's been playing with might actually have a hold of him. The star here, small offering. They view you as a temporary pleasantry. They just need to come in and tag it with that schwankster, right? The schwankster needs to come in with the stiffy and tag you so that he can exchange your big gifts for his tiny little package here. Puppet, exploiting. Those who were puppeting you, driving your life, stealing your wealth, your tax money, whatever, they're undergoing a malfunction. Because they were exploiting you and driving your life. Using your own gifts, man. Using your own gifts. They want to do it again. They want to come up here, but you're not accepting their proposal. You're not accepting their proposal. They're not able to make a proposal. God said this is the end of their relationship with batteries. They're never going to be able to come in here and exchange gifts like this with you again. If they don't have gifts that match yours, they're not going to get a contract. They have to match. It has to be reciprocal. It has to be equal. They can't just come in here and have a contract if they don't match. These guys have been dressing up in the energy of very powerful, very capable, stable feminines, and then they've been dressing up their little hoe bag in the energy and then gaining access to these spaces using the mind of consciousness as a connector and bridge into that space. And then they've been in there just spending the money. One of them, I guess, even had a child, and she was a bad mother. She was an alcoholic. Look, snake. Small offering, snake. You've illuminated. So the star has shined a light regarding this snake, trading this next to nothing for all of that, and then using your own gifts and your own light and your own life force to bind you, curse you, and hurt others, wearing your mask. So you're not repeating the past. You're not going back to the past. You're leaving soon. You're going across the distances. Your twin flame is here, just us. You're going to go get some alone time, and it was prophesied. It was prophesied. And you got these nasty jacks out there, you know, they really do want to go unalive the 3D vessel of this divine feminine, of this Empress High Priestess. They're stalking and they're hush hush asking about weapons. They're asking about ammunition. They're asking if you carry. They're asking what your routine is. They're asking about your protection. They're asking about your back door. What does it come into in the house? What's your routine? I gotta go put wood in the fire, I think. Oh, no, I don't. We're still good. So, Queen of Cups, Empress, we got some folks comparing with you. Oh, witch! You're the divine planetary mother, and you got these witches out there comparing wallets. They're like, well, she's got all this money. What do I want? So they go start casting illusions, cursing people, hexing people, stealing from people, you know, doing all this weird, evil crap. They're like the planetary identity thieves, you know, and it's no wonder that identity theft and RAPing crimes and all of that, they're never accounted for in the legal system, because that's who these people are. It's their world, man. It's what they've been using this woman, this high priestess, Empress's energy, and there's more than just one. These trapped prisoners of war to bind and curse and hurt people. But it's over now. God said this is the end of their relationship with batteries, with stars, with suns. The snake is here trying to make a small offering here. You could have shined the light on it. So we've got a 5 of Wands here in the environment. So we've got conflict with your distant twin flame. He could be fighting it alone. Leadership. So... yeah, so they're fighting with your distant twin flame. This power of 3 gambled with you. They're taking a gamble. They're doing magic or something. There's some kind of an unexpected event. Rising tensions, battles, relentless opposition. You're getting your channel promoted. It could be the telepaths and the oracles, the prophets and the prophetesses are all really starting to amplify right now. Random thoughts. Home. You're getting messages from your home, from your Star Nation family, from across the distances, from your soul tribe. Your true family, not this snake and these illusionists that had you trapped here for cycle after cycle. So you've got the 2 of Pentacles here. Ooh. You're balancing your decisions. You were able to manage it. Look at this on the outgoing energy. So this is who you are. This is who you've been. You've been managing multiple things and not just your own stuff. You got a lot of unseen energies in your life, in your house, or you did, and they've been messing with you for lifetimes after lifetimes. But right now, see, you were pushing the love of them and the love of everybody up that hill, and you did it lifetime after lifetime, and this is your honor. And they've been trying to steal it from you. They have been stealing it from you for being so loving. Look at this love you have, and look at the size of that trophy. This is you, Empress High Priestess. And these nasty freaking illusionists, these vampiric magicians have been out here freaking messing everything up, using your energy. You know, you've been pushing that love, and that requires a lot of energy. But they've also been taking it from you. And now there's an argument, you know, they want this energy. And there's the God or somebody's telling them, the courts or system of the Universal Supreme Courts or something. It's like she needs her energy in order to heal the planet. So this Empress, High Priestess, is like the planetary mother because she's got such a fabulous golden light. Royal light that whatever she touched turns to gold. Everything that she touches is enlivened, is invigorated, is blessed. She's like the Holy Spirit, grace. And these guys have been sacrificing her over and over and freaking over again, trapping her here, using her beautiful, forever living, healing, nurturing life force to fuel their illusion of being somebody important. He stripped her of her honor over and over and over again. That's what Spirit said. A divine masculine spirit. Labor for her work. She's been working for centuries for all of these people, making sure that they had everything they needed. At the same time, they were torturing her. In the spirit, she was serving them with everything that she had. And in the 3D, they were hurting her. And in the spirit, because they were also sticking knives in her and stuff. Real nice people. But we got time. It's time for you to be congratulated, to receive your rewards, your things that these people had been fighting you for. And this could be an absent father. Like, this could be a jealous father, somebody from a long freaking time ago, or a husband or a protector. Somebody bailed on you. They abandoned you, and then they started to fight with you. Them and all of their buddies, all their masculine friends. This peaceful, loving freaking Empress. All the committed to God. And then taking on a whole, so what these guys do is they marry into the clan, and then they get a hold of the most powerful woman of the family, and then they F her up. They take her power, and then they screw up the entire family with it. This is their war on powerful people. These witches think that they're better than those people who don't do witchcraft. They're just connected with Source Creator. And it's really interesting when people come on here and they try to tell me that, I'm a witch. Look, their days of being big and bad are going in the grave. They were never that, because you kept yourself clean. It is you who are there to set things right, to make things right, to balance the scales, to sweep up the mess, the shit, the bullshit, to be of service. You make sure people have what they want, what they need for whatever it is that they got going on. You are God's representative, the planetary mother. You're here to make sure that families, divine families, have what they need, and you're here to transfer the messaging that you're receiving. When Cornholio comes and they are planning on prostituting everybody because you can see into their damn mind, and you try to relay that information, and then they come back and they cast illusions with the stupid witchcraft, and they, frame you for something. And then you gotta, one of the memories one of the messages was, as this person was coming into this world, the upper dimensional father or relative said, learn as much as you can about as much as you can. And it's been thousands of years, but we all know, or at least it's been told, that God's time is different than this time. Like, I don't know, 1,000 years could be like a week for God. I don't know. You were able to self-preserve your body, and you will be able to do that wherever it is you go. You're going to make changes. You're a creatress, a creator. You will know what it is that needs to be done. You've brought attention to this religious man, and it could be that you were married to a religious man centuries ago. He unalived you and then just decided to pull forth and pretend that your gifts and your authority and your gatekeeper position and all of this stuff that God had given you, your rainbow covenant, they downloaded your soul value into their own damn selves, and then they pretended that they were that, while sacrificing and brutalizing you lifetime after lifetime, and then taking credit for the pain that you were going through, like they had done it themselves. Isn't it just beautiful? They had a narrow perception, and they were driving your life. They were playing around thinking that they could be you better than you. This wise guy was haunting the mind of innocent people and their life path. They were bringing ghosts, devils, demons, whatever, to come in here and haunt the life of innocent people. He was taught how to martyr them for profit. calling them insane. They were bringing devils and operating Microsoft streamlined Hulu movies, or, you know, these, oh, they're afraid now. There's some kind of an expectation, some seat. They got to go take a seat. They're afraid to take a seat. They got to take a seat regarding these, using these entities or the divination, whatever, against a sovereign person, trying to steal their status of privilege, trying to make them be invisible. This whole tribe had been doing that. They've been using the dead or whatever. Oh, now you got a new promise. You are being remembered, and everything, or maybe they're remembering now a promise that they made to use you for entertainment, to fight with you, to compete with you, to appear as you. This curator said, if they consume you, eat the flesh, drink the blood, that they can be seen just like you. And that's what they've been doing. Their whole life is an illusion. They might be spying. There's an addict who might be spying on your location. So be careful. You know, these crazy locos, they'll do whatever. They're snakes, right? And they never cared about anything. I mean, they care about getting caught, which is why they probably haven't done a 3D thing yet. But they got a lot of people who are mentally compromised with all these stupid medications that they have. I don't know what's in them. There's some kind of nanobot or graphene, some kind of programmable heavy metal or something. I don't know. There's something going on. But they use medications as connectors and bridges into the consciousness. And then once they get into the consciousness, they use that as a connector and a bridge into your Star Nation's soul tribe's family and dimensional space and place, which is across distances. So they've been terrorizing your family, which is the Lyrans, I believe, that are through the Lyran Stargate, the Line Gate. And you got your protector is very committed to you. Very committed. Because they see the evidence of the performance and the illusions of this clown, the camouflage. They were trying to get revenge on you for what? For not giving them a house, you know, because they wanted to go be a whore. So you're like, well, if you want to be a whore, I can't give you a house. You got to stay out of the territory and just go, you know, get a job or something. And so they decided to unalive her and say, practice what you preach, you know, because this is like the spoiled POS that doesn't want to get a job. They expect the mother to spoil them and give them an allowance. And if she doesn't give them the allowance that they feel they deserve for not doing anything, then they unalive her and they take it. You are reconciled here. There's a transformation. You could be reconciled with a forgotten person, an old friend, your person. There's a change here. It could be that you have changed, like the sunset. There's a transformation here. Like maybe you transformed in your space here in the night, this rose. You've top freaking level. You've mastered yourself. When you were undergoing all of that torment, Rose, you mastered yourself. They couldn't see it. These third-party enemies, this trash and the shadows, they couldn't see that you were mastering yourself. They were too busy getting drunk and effing everybody in the shadows. Oh, I didn't even pull any cards, did I? Sorry, I got on a tangent. I hope y'all are being kind to each other in the comments now. I'm not reading them too much. I'm sorry if you're asking me something and I'm not responding. It's not that I'm ignoring you. I'm just really I'm kind of focused on the storyline here. Intuition. So, Three of Swords, they're getting divorced. Their social mask is off. They don't have any gifts. They're not optimistic. You are psychic. You know this. You know this. Everybody knows it. The intuition. They're not optimistic about intuition. They don't have any gifts. They can't touch your gifts. You are psychic. They're worried about that. So this is what these guys, they want to come in and do a thing, right? But they're worried that you're psychic and they're afraid that you might know. They're running around paranoid, which means that they got this overactive imagination. They're malfunctioning here. They might want to try to make it so that your car malfunctions. So be aware of that. You're strong here. You're in a commitment with your twin flame or your person across the way in this, your Star Nation Soul Tribe family. You're a being of peace. You're committed to peace. You've always been committed to peace, regardless of the mental warfare and the energetic and emotional and all this warfare that was being waged on your body, on your mind, on your life. You remained peaceful. You remained loving. You're the true High Priestess Empress of Star. Of course you remain peaceful and loving. It's your job. That's why God chose you, is because you can handle this abuse and you still don't blow the world up. You still try to heal it with the love that you are, even though they're just sticking knives in you left and freaking right. And you still pray and you still remain hopeful. They said you have the faith of a mustard seed. You keep going. You don't stop. You face your fear. You're fiercely independent. You're this powerful light and this powerful shadow. You're very, very strong and you're peaceful. Now, you got these nasty jacks out there. They are so furious. They're like, she's too strong. She's too powerful. She can't manage herself. Well, yes, she can. Only she can. These guys trapped her as a prisoner of war. They siphoned her gifts and her energy, and they nearly destroyed everything and everybody with them. And they were portraying themselves as her so that they could try to frame her as a terrorist in her own homeland. But she didn't become malicious or vengeful. And once she was able to get her light going, God sent her to see Osiris and then brought her home. And now all this stuff is happening. He's fed up. He's like, it's enough. You guys have been doing this for thousands of years, man. And you still didn't do the right thing. You didn't do anything. You didn't do anything, and neither did she. She was helping you, guiding you, serving you, and you were out here hurting her, making bad choices, trying to prevent her from moving on because you were too damn lazy to do the work. So you wanted to trap her and then force her to be your servant, your footstool, when she was the one trying to bring you freaking home. But apparently they can't go home because they did some weird genetic stuff to themselves. They're being warned. They didn't do anything. They didn't do anything to earn the honor that this person has earned. And yet they're out there in the 3D space giving themselves awards and stuff. It's comical. It's so freaking comical to see the masculine doing shit like that. I'm like, are you kidding? The Rose didn't do a damn thing except get unalived in a torturous way over and over and over again for being a royal daughter of an upper dimensional god. Or somebody in an upper echelon in an upper dimensional space and pace. She's called a soprano. So you probably hit the high notes when you sing. I was sleeping years ago, maybe probably 6 years ago now. I was in bed, I was sleeping, and I was dreaming. I was having an astral experience, and it was dark, and there were like teenagers outside, and I couldn't tell that they were teenagers at the time, but there were people outside, and they were going to break into my house. So I went in the astral space, and I grabbed my shotgun, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to blow them all. I'm going to blow them away. So I get out there, and I put the thing up to my shoulder, and I'm looking at my target, and it's like a 10-year-old boy or whatever, and I'm like, there's children. So I put it down, and I'm just sitting there, and the next thing I know, a freaking werewolf man comes into my room, right? Big freaking werewolf, and he's like as tall as my ceiling. Next thing I know, I'm like double fist. I'm just like screaming, like banshee, whatever, but it was really a high note, like real freaking high. And apparently I was like growing at the same time, and I became really tall, like the werewolf, and I was about ready to like smash him in his head. And then the next thing I know, he disappeared. So I don't know, that was weird. But when I woke up, my fists were clenched, and everything in me was like vibing so freaking intensely. It was massive. It was wild. So then we went for a ride in a golf cart down a dark street, and everybody was kind of having conversation and stuff. So Knight of Cups in the reverse, they're having an overactive imagination. They could be malfunctioning. They are being exploited, or they have been exploiting others by puppeting their minds, driving their lives into circumstances that they would not have chosen. And you have ascended. It could be that that's what they were doing. They were puppeting others, trying to steal their ascension, puppeting others, and then stealing their ascension. They were exploiting people in order to gain an ascension. They were harvesting people's initiate ascension rewards at the crossroads. After puppeting them and driving them into suffering and challenges extreme, where you had to learn your lessons and then you had to gain your rewards. So they were driving you into that, but they weren't allowing you to collect your reward at the crossroad. The snake was coming in there and taking it. They were coming in and offering a small offering to the star who went through this initiation and ascension. And then they want to make a small offering so that they can then trade gifts. They can take your ascension and leave you there as a snake, or puppet you, drive your life, exploit you, get you to live their dream rather than listen to your soul song. Whoa. So remember, you've solved the puzzle. The star has solved the puzzle. You've shined a big old light, Rose, on this small offering, on this exchange of gifts, your huge amount of gifts, your High Priestess Empress gifts, this mothering, beautiful, nurturing. You can heal anything with just a freaking intent. And they come in with this small offering and they freaking take your stuff. But you are firm here. You've solved the puzzle and you're very, very firm. They cannot control your mind. You are able to manage yourself well, even when all these snakes are coming after you. Why? Because, well, you're not an alcoholic. You don't drink. If you do, it's very little. You probably use it medicinally if you do at all. If you use cannabis, it's probably not the full-on thing. You might use like the properties of it as a medicinal thing rather than the synthetics that these sick people have been using as connectors and bridges into your mind. You're very clean here. You're not a drug addict. You don't go out and whore around. You're very stable. You take care of yourself, your home, and you're not going to repeat the past. They can't trap you here. It was prophesied. You're going with your sweetheart across the distances. But they're right here now. They're fighting. They're fighting with your distant twin flame over this leadership position. They want to take you both out. So right now, your guardian angel, your twin flame, is at war with these people. This clown. This freaking clown. So it was prophesied. You're going away. And these people are in eternal regret. Yep, it was prophesied. You're getting the home. This is your home. This is your haven. This garden belongs to the planetary mother. This Eden was her creation. Holy moly. Oh, now we're going. Or God gave her something to, I don't know. You're going to have to think about that yourself. Somebody is in eternal regret for not seeing your value. You did it all by yourself. You're this powerful, independent woman. You're strong. You can kick ass. Oh, yes, you can. But you prefer to stay in the energy of peace. That's what you walk in. You walk in the light. Your powerful footsteps are made as this horse. Could be a stallion, could be a mare. Take it as it resonates for you. But this is your walk. Your footstep is all purity. But you can go there because you had to imbue all of that darkness that you were in. And you in your peace. Planetary stabilizer. They can't knock you off your rocker. You had a whole freaking tribe, a whole freaking collective of these covens of sorcerers out there cursing you. That's incredible. The curse is broken. They're in eternal regret. Queen, the love of this empress, this witch was comparing herself to the love and the nurturing capacity of this empress, this high priestess. And you're getting a new beginning. It's time for you to rest. You've been dealing with this crap for a long time. So in the environment, though, we've got rivalry with your distant twin flame and over this leadership position. Oops. We've got encounter. Yeah, so somebody wanted to fight with you and your distant twin flame. They wanted to be your false twin and then command that leadership position. But right now, they're in the environment fighting with your true twin flame. Holy moly, you're about ready to encounter each other. They're fighting with them over this leadership position. The power of 3 is in the dungeon. They're doing some magic. They're taking a gamble. There's an unexpected event happening here. There's some constant battles happening. Relentless opposition. Rising tensions. Your channel is being promoted with the home. So you are telepathically and energetically very much connected to your home space. Your Star Nation soul tribe, your twin flame. These people think that because you take medicine, that as soon as you get to this other space where there isn't any synthetic drugs or whatever, that they think you're going to have a temple failure. And that's just not the case. If you can bring healing to a planet and the life upon it as a high priestess, empress, star, if everything you touch turns to gold, then all you got to do is touch yourself, heal yourself, and then, work with the Mother Nature's plants and foods to heal. They got these weird fantasies about you having a temple failure. They're hoping so badly that it won't work out, but it will. And you know what? And half of the battle is in the mind. If they can convince you that it won't, well then. Where there's a will, there's a way. Right? Reconciled. So, you've kept yourself balanced. With this 2 of Pentacles, you managed all of this crap going on. So many things going on. You pushed a whole big bunch of love up that mountain. You've got high honors for the work that you have done. You have received honors from many throughout those spiritual realms, these astral spaces. Here in the 3D, we've got a masculine trying to take credit for the rewards and the admiration that this woman is receiving. They're trying desperately to be seen as this person. They could be the one fighting with your twin flame here. You're being reconciled. You've done the work to repair and to bring understanding to what's going on here with the clown. And the roses and the unfinished business, the going back into the shadows and sacrificing a rose and then popping back into this upper dimensional space and saying, oh, I'm that. Yeah, they were unaliving the initiate, the ascended one. And they were harvesting that those things, those energies, those powers, those gifts, those rewards, and then saying, I'm here, but they're a clown. It's a performance. They were never that. They're just a red ramming thief. And they're being let go, and they're being silenced. They're not going to have any clairs. They won't be able to tap your mind. They cannot spy on you because of the crime that they were doing with your love. They were harvesting your soul, your ascension, your initiation, your Star Nation soul tribe, familial wealth. They were going up there creating war, wearing your face, pretending to be you after they went over there into the shadows and unalived you. See, a lot of the times, so the spirit, when they were prostituting the energy, like they were prostituting the energy rather than the spirit, because in the spirit, a lot of you were kept at an age of like a teenager. And you had to be kept innocent and pure because they kept sacrificing you to whatever entities they were sacrificing you to, and they needed you to remain pure in the spirit. So they didn't prostitute your spirit, they prostituted your energy. And they came in once in a while, Cornholio or whatever would come in and then re-up their freaking tag or whatever in the 3D. This uninvited guest is running away because you are the catalyst here. Divine intervention is happening. And these third-party enemies who isolated you, have been investigated. They want a miracle. They miss you. Oh my God, the snake is drinking. They miss you. They need a miracle. But justice is occurring. The scales are being balanced because of the illusions that these copycats were doing, wearing your energy and your identity. And the sun is going down on these who are addicted to living your life. There's breaking up. You are the treasure, and they had hidden you for a long time. They could have sacrificed you way back here. Way back here. This has been going on for thousands of years. Whoever you are, you may have been like a princess or some serious person way freaking back there. And they've been doing this for a long time. You've got the golden light of royalty, and you've got these cornholio freaking frauds out there pretending that they do. And they're just actors and actresses that are bound to the snake and these other entities that they make sacrifices to. You're getting your wish. There's a cool down, a slow down. They might be going under some kind of freezing. There's communications records, call records. Somebody may be getting a whole bunch of mental communications. They may be feeling, they may be getting tormented in the mind because you sang your song in just the right time. You exposed yourself. These adversaries call it advertising yourself. So you sang your song and you exposed yourself to the world in just the right timing. These people are having financial trouble because they can't bring anybody into their bedroom anymore. They can't tap the womb of power due to the history of their commitment and their oath, their loyalty to the shadow. This trash. That saw the cat, the lirin, the apple of God's eye, the tree that they weren't supposed to eat or harvest or whatever. Yeah, okay, so they've been sacrificing the cat for a long damn time and then using that those gifts, that talent, those natural gifts. They're in trouble because there's a transformation here. It could be that you took a leap of faith that you just went all in. It's like they've been threatening to do this, do that, torture, torture, torture. And you're like, yeah, you know, and then according to them and according to everybody else, they've tortured you many lifetimes. And it's like, okay, well, it might end that way this time too, but whatever. You found the core of the problem of what this past person has been doing. So whoever you are, it's like there was like there's been a few resets, right? But you are like a queen bee, a powerful, independent woman who is trapped as a prisoner of war from one of these underwater things. You were sacrificed by some shitheel that was supposed to protect you or build with you or do something. They didn't see your worth. They didn't see your worth. So for centuries, they've been torturing you. And now you get to go be with your true twin flame. And this false flame, this snake, who's been hijacking your freaking potential for union every damn cycle, is going away. So, yeah, they're getting kicked out of that. There's a divorce here. Their social mask has fallen off. They have no gifts. They did not see your value. They don't have any, they're not optimistic about coming into being with you because you are a psychic. If they try to come in here and get into your 3D space, you're gonna sense it. You're gonna know it. You're a high priestess empress. You're gonna know. You're a psychic. You're this powerful freaking shadow and light. You are a peaceful being, but these people really underestimated you. They were very full of themselves. Release. They're being released. They could be getting some kind of a sixth sense. They know that they're going to get released. You're too strong here. You got a commitment here to peace. You're a powerful, independent woman. They tried to paint you as a malicious, vengeful tyrant that wanted to destroy and dominate the entire world. And that just isn't the case. That's their case. That's their projection. That's the snake's projection. This puppet master who wanted to rule over the consciousness and the energy of souls. And they wanted to dominate all of the Star Nation soul tribes of your zodiac sign, where you come from. That place where you're here to fortify your union with the Creator, and then to add value to your soul, to gain these initiation, ascension gifts, and then to bring that value back to your Star Nation soul tribe. But these guys were stealing it at the crossroads and dressing up freaking Jezebel and then going up there and creating havoc in your hometown. What a bunch of shitheels, man. You're the planetary mother. You're the mother nature. You're the one who restores peace. You're the one who heals. You're the one that stabilizes. You're very powerful. And these men didn't have any respect or honor for the mother. Why? Because these invaders, these invasive species, come from a dimensional space where there are no women. It's all men. They have no connection. But they don't have any connection to the womb of power or the portal that brings forth life from the Star Nation families. So they got to come here to this realm to harvest that womb and that wealth, right? So they're not getting a new beginning. They're not getting a new beginning at all. They made very bad choices, and now they're being warned. They didn't do anything. You didn't do anything. You were the rose. They sacrificed you, tortured you over and over and over again, and you are a high priestess empress star, a powerful princess or a queen. These men and all of their magic and their orgies and their brutalization and torture of people and you could not take the love out of you or change you from what you are, a magnificent divine mother. And that's why you have the universal gatekeeper role, magistrate, lawmaker. You kept your head. You didn't become violent. You didn't destroy things. You didn't want to dominate people. You left vengeance to who it belongs to. And now they're being prepared as for fodder. You didn't do anything. These people, these crows, were throwing that clam onto the road, cracking the shell open, smashing it by driving over it, doing harm, and then feeding on it. They were feeding on the energy and the life force and everything else of the rose. You didn't do anything. You were innocent. You were innocent. They're disappointed. They're having a mental thing. They could be malfunctioning. They were exploiting you. They were puppeting you in order to gain an ascension, in order to get up into your place as you. Apparently, this person that sacrificed you was a Gemini. You may be a Leo or some kind of a fire sign. It wasn't a zodiac match. So these feminines, it's pretty obvious. They're just not you. The transfer didn't transfer exactly as it was supposed to transfer because the zodiac did not match. History. In the history, they were puppeting people. They were exploiting people, stealing their initiation ascension gifts, and then putting them back through another cycle, a rebirth cycle of scarcity, of suffering, of abuse. They would not let them go home. They would not let them take their initiation ascension gifts and their soul value and they would not let them go home. They would brutalize them, torture them there at the crossroad, and then send them back through into another birth after they red rummed them in a horrific way. History. That's how they were getting their ascension. And they were going up there with their brutalizer, dominator mindset and being mean to people, prostituting people, sleeping with them without building anything, marrying into the clan, hating the children that they were giving life to, but they were tapping into the spiritual. These people are bad. You've solved the puzzle. The star has solved the puzzle because you remained firm and clean and decisive about what it was you were doing with your life. This snake made you a small offer. They may want to try and still make a small offer to do a gift exchange. They want your ascension, but they need a relationship. They're telling each other to take something of yours. They want to do a magic trick and make it seem like you have given them permission to be energetically entangled with them. They want to steal something of yours and then magically enchant it to cast the illusion that you have given permission to be entangled with them. They're being warned. The snake is being warned. We've got the nostalgia card in the reverse. We're not going to repeat the past. You're leaving home. You're going to go across the distances with your actual twin flame. It was prophesied that you would receive the haven, the home. This is your haven. This is your home. These invasive species came in and turned it into a brothel, a war zone, a freaking slaughterhouse. They're going to have eternal regret for what they did to this anomaly. And the family, her home, and the family that she was trying to protect. She was framed as a tyrant, as a wealth hoarder, and she was just trying to keep them away from these effing puppet masters, these pimps. These witches. Queen of Cups, Empress. The witch was comparing themselves to you. You're getting, you're going on a journey. You're going to get a new beginning of abundance. You're going to go get the abundance that was always yours. This whole entire planet siphoned the wealth out of this planetary mother's womb, and they tortured her for it. They're sitting here in the environment fighting with your distant twin flame. He could be taking it on all by himself. We've got for this leadership role with you. You could be about ready to meet your person so that you can plant your seeds together. There might be some kind of curiosity. He's probably watching very much. So the power of three are in the dungeon doing magic. They're taking a gamble. There's some kind of an unexpected event. Some kind of a battle is breaking out. Your channel with your home is being increased, promoted. You're getting your telepathic communication system with your Star Nation Soul Tribe is being promoted. It's coming online. It's being amplified. And they're in grief. Those who are dominating you are in grief. Maybe they're being dominated and they're in grief because you have a great connection with your Star Nation Soul Tribe and they know exactly what's going on here. They might be dominating those who had been dominating you and effing up their freaking Star Nation timeline. Yeah, somebody's in grief. They're getting dominated by your people. Two of Pentacles. Whoa. This is beautiful. Two of Pentacles. You are able to manage multiple priorities. So you're like a planetary mother figure. There's a lot of stuff going on. These uninvited guests came here into the Eden and they decided that they were going to turn it into a brothel, a slaughterhouse. They were just going to pimp everybody out and drain every womb of all of its power. And they were going to go into the Star Nation Soul Tribe of all of the zodiacs and take all of that wealth as well. And they were just going to have a big damn field day here while they cut all the damn trees and wrapped and cursed all of the crowns and kept the real stars from their family. Whoo, darling. You got a heart bond here. You've got high honors. You pushed your love up that hill no matter how, a big freaking love. You got big love and a lot of responsibilities. You could be the planetary mother. This sacrifice, this rose, you're hitting the freaking mark. You're throwing those bouquets everywhere. You got some people, you're bringing up that mountain with you and you got high honors here. You got this masculines out here. They're so freaking jealous and mean. They want to turn you into a nothing is what they want to do. They want to get rid of you. They want to stop you from speaking. But their magic is weak. They can't do it because your protection is too damn strong. You are reconciled. You did the work and the shadow work. You're the one who did the work. You did the work to earn the initiation, reward, and ascension. You did the work. Not just this lifetime, but every lifetime, over and over and over and over again. And every time at the crossroads, they kept taking your freaking honor and your ascension reward and your authority and your gifts. They were transferring your soul value, your identity, your energy into a copycat. And then sending them up there to get married into the family so that they could then be a little whore and fuck up everybody's life. You have a heart bond. You are loved. Your person loves you. These people have been messing around with everybody for a long time. So those who cause mischief for you or who want to bring mischief to you, they're at risk. They may want to cause a risk for you. But you have grown through all of the upheaval of these scavengers. All of this negative communication, all of these negative influences. You've flown above it. You rose above it. And now, what? They have to keep their distance from you? It's their turn to go survive? through some kind of distractions. They're fighting. They're offering resistance. So they're here in the environment fighting right now with your distant twin flame over this leadership role that you two are going to share together. They might be spying on you and the things that you're planting here. There's anticipation. Look, they wanted your gifts. They anticipated getting your gifts by creating illusion, by mirroring you in the sacred space. You're going in a new direction because you were able to keep yourself balanced. They said that this time you weren't triggered by jealousy. So, you know, there's a whole community of people here that have been feeding on the young, feeding on the innocent and the pure. And now they are in fear. Everything they've done, everything they're thinking about doing is being watched. They are concerned about surveillance. They're alone in the night. They left you alone in the night. It was their routine. The over and back, over and back, over and back. Devils were coming into the heaven wearing angel energy that they had just stuck a knife in. And they were pretending that they were so pure and worthy. They're receiving God's wrath for playing around and mimicking the true initiate. I think that's good enough right there. I think I'm going to go ahead and leave that one. I think that pretty much clarifies some stuff. Oh, so again, I wasn't trying to ignore y'all. I was just not focused on the chat. I hope you are being nice to each other. And what's this? Mine, happily, whatever. What's this? Mine. And that's all that I am, Popeye the Sailor Man. Yeah. Oh, thank you for all the hearts, everybody. I see them floating over there. Thank you so much. I love hearts. I'm glad you enjoyed the read, Georgia. I really do, or am. Thanks, everybody. Oh, Brown Todd. Oh, thank you, Brown Todd. That's a nice comment. Thank you. Hello, Baker. Thank you, everybody. Happily watching. Well, it's much more than just your word, and it's my words, actually. I'm the one speaking. Having been graced the opportunity from heavenly messengers, trusting me to relay the message. Hi, Mystic Mandy. Ah, thank you, Brown Todd. Thank you, everybody. Well, a lot of us, you know, I mean, consciously, this is the 23rd year, but, you know, it's been, like I said, it's been lifetimes. So our soul has many, many stories. And I think that's why, you know, we hear so many people say, well, that was me and that was me. And I don't doubt that, you know, many of us have had experiences with various identities throughout time. Chile, hello. Thank you. I just got my tooth fixed. So happy. Spinach is good for you. All right. Oh, the bumblebee. The bumblebees will be saved. The energy harvesters are going in the grave. That was a song that I channeled a couple years ago, I think, a year and a half ago. The bumblebees will be saved. The energy harvesters are going in the grave. Ha. And on that note, I'll see you all later. Take care, everybody. Be well. Tomorrow's Friday. See you then. Oh. Oh. See you later.